Good Wednesday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Conversation Daily News. Glad you all could be with us. Well, we made it to the last hump day and the last day of the month of November. Hope you guys have had a great month. We really have here at Conversation, so I'm hoping the same for you. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Wednesday with a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. And in today's Entertainment Spotlight, you'll be part of my conversation with author, speaker, and consultant Cassandra Worthy discussing her new book, Change Enthusiasm. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversation Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with their Wednesday headlines. In national news, Oath Keepers boss guilty of seditious conspiracy in January 6 case. Oath Keepers founder Stuart Rhodes was convicted Tuesday of seditious conspiracy for a violent plot to overturn Democratic Joe Biden's presidential win, handing the Justice Department a major victory in its massive prosecution of the January 6, 2021 insurrection. A Washington, D.C. jury found Rhodes guilty of sedition after 3 days of deliberations in the nearly 2-month-long trial that showcased the far-right extremist group's effort to keep Republican Donald Trump in the White House at all costs. The rarely used Civil War-era charge calls for up to 20 years behind bars. Rhodes didn't go inside the U.S. Capitol on January 6, but was accused of leading a plot that began shortly after the 2020 election to wage an armed rebellion to stop the transfer of presidential power. Through recordings and encrypted messages, jurors heard how Rhodes rallied his followers to fight to keep Donald Trump in office, warned of a possible bloody civil war, and expressed regret that the Oath Keepers didn't bring rifles to the Capitol on January the 6th. In an extraordinary move, Rhodes and two of his defendants took the stand in their defense, opening themselves up to intense questioning from prosecutors. Rhodes told jurors there was no plan to attack the Capitol and insisted that his followers who went inside the building just went rogue. In more national news, NATO renews membership vow to Ukraine, pledges arms and aid. NATO doubled down Tuesday on its commitment to one day include Ukraine, a pledge that some officials and analysts believe helped prompt Russia's invasion this year. The world's largest security alliance also pledged to send more aid to Ukrainian forces locked in battle with Russian troops. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with NATO foreign ministers to drum up support for Ukraine as Russia bombards energy infrastructure going into the frigid winter. Russia cannot stop the alliance expansion, NATO leaders said. NATO's door is open, the NATO Secretary General said before chairing the meeting in the capital. He highlighted that North Macedonia and Montenegro had recently joined NATO and said the Russian President Putin will get Finland and Sweden as NATO members. The Nordic neighbors applied for membership in April, concerned that Russia might target them next. Russia does not have a veto on countries joining. We stand by that, said the Secretary General. When they met in 2008, NATO leaders said Ukraine and Georgia would join the alliance one day. In more national news, Virginia Walmart mass shooting survivor files $50 million lawsuit. A Walmart employee who survived last week's mass shooting at a store in Virginia has filed a $50 million lawsuit against the company for allegedly continuing to employ the shooter, a store supervisor who had known propensities for violence, threats, and strange behavior. The lawsuit, which appears to be the first to stem from the shooting, was filed Tuesday in Chesapeake Circuit Court. Walmart, which is headquartered in Bentonville, Arkansas, said in a statement that it was reviewing the complaint and will respond as appropriate with the court. The lawsuit alleges that she has experienced post-traumatic stress disorder, including physical and emotional distress, from witnessing the rampage in the store's break room on November 22nd. In entertainment news, Clarence Gilliard, Die Hard and Matlock actor, dies at 66. Clarence Gilliard Jr., a popular supporting actor whose credits include the blockbuster films Die Hard and Top Gun and the hit television series Matlock and Walker, Texas Ranger, has died. His death was announced this week by the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where he taught stage and screen acting. Additional details were not immediately available. Professor Gilliard was a beacon of light and strength for everyone around him at UNLV, the school's film chair said in a statement. Whenever we asked him how he was, he would cheerfully declare that he was blessed. But we are truly the ones who were blessed to be his colleagues and students for so many years. Gilliard had a prolific career as an actor starting in the 1980s with appearances in Different Strokes, The Facts of Life, and other shows. He then appeared in two of the biggest movies of the decade, Top Gun, in which he played Sundown, and Die Hard, when he was featured as a villainous computer maven whose one line included, "You didn't bring me along for my charming personality." And finally, in business news, Wall Street ends an uneven day of trading with mixed results. Wall Street capped an unsteady day of trading with an uneven finish for the major stock indexes Tuesday as gains by energy companies were offset by losses in technology and other sectors. The S&P 500 slipped 0.2%, its third straight drop. The tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite fell 0.6%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average ended just barely in the green, and small company stocks rose. The mixed finish came as investors watched developments in China and looked ahead to a speech today by the Fed Reserve Chairman for clues as to what the central bank would do next in its fight to lower stubbornly hot inflation. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for a message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By. Enjoy. Good Wednesday, everyone. I'm Cyrus Webb, and welcome to Words I Choose to Live By. The difficult truth is that not everyone will want you to succeed. There will be some that will openly root for your failure. This is why you can't tie your success in life to what others think. You have to believe in yourself enough to know that you are worthy of all that is good in the world. That is why you have to fight for it each and every day. So let's get to it. Have an amazing hump day. We are part of my conversation coming up with Cassandra Worthy in today's Entertainment Spotlight. Stay with us. You're listening to Conversations Daily News. On Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Author, speaker, and consultant Cassandra Worthy joined me on Conversations Live, the radio show, to talk about her book, Change Enthusiasm, and the impact it's having. Here's a bit of our conversation. Cassandra, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. And what it do? How are you?
Well, doing really good. You know, Cassandra, what I thought about was so interesting. I mean, you have made this entire brand around change, and that is something that is not easy, as I mentioned in the intro. What has that been like for you to get people to looking at change differently?
Oh, it's been quite the journey. And honestly, it started with me. It started at the individual level with myself. You know, I spent several years working in more traditional roles of corporate America. I have a degree in chemical engineering. And so I worked in the consumer packaged goods industry, leading innovation, leading organizations, you know, developing really incredible products all around the world. But during that career, I went through a lot of really big shifts. Notably huge acquisitions, some of the biggest that the CPG industry has ever seen. And during those changes, I felt the pain that we so often feel when that type of change comes around that feels like it happens to us. Like we didn't ask for it, we didn't sign up for it, but yet we have to get through it. And so the frustration, the anger, the anxiety, the fear, all of those emotions, I felt so poignantly when going through these acquisitions. And I noticed that no one was really talking about it, and really leadership wasn't arming employees with a means to acknowledge those emotions and then transform them into fuel. And so what I began to develop, I didn't have language for it, but it was really just to help me in my own career, was this growth mindset of change enthusiasm. Recognizing that when I'm feeling frustrated, when I feel like walking out of the door, when I feel like quitting every day, that I'm being signaled into this moment of opportunity.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning into this edition of Conversations Daily News, but we'll get on tomorrow with more news, message from my book, Words I Choose to Live By, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Now let's go make it a great one.